Here you go, folks. True romance. Loving couple's been together for like 4 years. Of course, the little slut on the left has polluted the whole neighborhood with about a dozen kittens every month. And secondly, you guys don't live here. You got claw marks all over my glass. It's so dirty now I can't even see out of it. Go away! This is the 2015 Toyota Camry we're going to be driving this week. Along with the Honda Accord, this is the best-selling mid-size around, so we're not going to test this alone. We decided to provide an underdog for a little bit of competition here. We're also going to be looking at this 2015 Chrysler 200. Now, we already tested the 4-cylinder previously. This is the V6. When I tell you how the gas mileage compares on this V6 to the 4-cylinder, I think you're going to be kind of shocked. There have been some styling updates recently, nothing radical. If you look at the front and you see the black grille, that means we have the deluxe model. Side view. No radical changes from the rear, just a bit of touching up. Under the hood is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder putting out 178 horsepower, rated at 25 miles per gallon in the city and 35 on the freeway. The manual transmissions appear to be gone this year, only a 6-speed automatic. We had the upgraded 3.5-liter V6 putting out 268 horsepower, rated at 21 mpg in the city and 31 on the highway. We'll check the real mileage as we go along. By the way, Toyota does offer this in a hybrid, a very impressive hybrid. I've already tested that. It's on my YouTube page. Lots of power, excellent economy. If you're interested in the Camry hybrid, go look at that video and you see the whole car tested. In the meantime, we're just covering the V6 and the 4-cylinder on this test. The previous dash layout was kind of chintzy looking. They've updated it this year. More modern, better materials. By the way, I'm sitting in the back seats and there's plenty of room here. I suppose you could fit 3 people back here, but it's really made for 2 large individuals instead. We have a very nice, easy to read gauge cluster, by the way. The climate control system is very simple. Just a couple knobs and a few buttons. The radio navigation is easy to use too. The glove box is too small for a car this size, but it will do. Decent storage compartment here to make up for the small glove box, so we're not complaining. Now the shifter takes some getting used to because there's a separate notch for each gear. Kind of goofy, but you'll get used to it. Move it to the left and you get manual shift override. So I'm not going to miss the manual transmission and clutch. And for those in a big hurry, paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Now if you watch my videos, one complaint I have on other cars are the ultra wide rocker panels under the door that make you rub your pant legs on the outside and get dirt all over you. Not a problem here. Very narrow, not an issue. Designed the way it should be. You get a decent sized trunk, and there is a real spare tire under there, by the way. Now before you even think of buying a Camry, there's something very important you need to know. There are 4 basic models in here. The LE and SE, which come with a base suspension, which is mainly based on comfort, and the XSE and XLE, which have the sport suspension. Makes a big difference. Now the sport suspension has stiffer shocks, bushings, and a faster steering gear to take a lot of the slack out of the base car. And it works. Cornerability is far improved. And unfortunately, anytime you put a sport suspension in a car that wasn't made to be sporty, you end up with an after effect you might not like. An after effect is a stiff, jittery ride. And with the tire pressure set at factory specs, that's what you get. especially when going over railroad tracks. Now, if you have a Camry with a sport suspension and you don't like the ride, there's a very simple solution. As you see on the panel here, they want 33 pounds per square inch in your tires. There's a simple trick. Just do what the NFL football players do, and that is deflate the ball. In this case, deflating the tire. Now, I dropped my tire pressures down to 2930 psi. It made a big difference in the ride quality, a lot smoother, but didn't affect handling or high-speed stability at all, at least what I could see. So, here's your solution, a very easy one. And since we're talking about difference in model numbers, the LE and SE come with projection beam headlights, but the upgraded XSE and XLE, like we have here, have the high output LED headlights. Are they better? We're going to take them out tonight and see. Other car testers only drive at daytime. We drive at night because I want to see how these LED headlights work. From a distance of 100 feet, the brights are extremely well lit. No issue here. Low beams are well lit too, but the cutoff is kind of low. Let's see what it does at the longer distance. Now we have the brights on going out to 300 feet. No problem here. Low beams. The lights do go out to 300 feet, but again, very low to the ground. So if you're driving on back roads or driving in dips, might want to keep the brights on as much as possible. Thus far, all my driving's been strictly heavy city traffic, along with my lead foot. Didn't care about fuel economy, but I'm still getting 20.1 thus far. Can't complain about that. That's almost right on for the EPA rating. By the way, this engine is very smooth and quiet and very quick. We're talking 16, just over 6 seconds. Nice brakes too. The Camry's a decent highway car, but there's a bit of rumbling. That sport suspension when you get on rough pavement. But nothing overly serious. Okay, we're testing the Camry for the highway mileage. Want to be on YouTube? Come on, say something.
There you go.
Alright. Okay, we have a 110 mile trip, doing 75 miles per hour plus, and getting 28.5 miles per gallon. I'm sure if we dropped it at 55 miles per hour, we could get it to the 31 miles per gallon on the window sticker, but I think this is plenty enough. The Toyota Camry is an excellent car. It's been around for a while. The reliability has been extremely proven. All you need to worry about is which suspension package works for you. But other than that, this is pretty much a worry-free car. Base price for the 4-cylinder car runs around $24,000. This was loaded up with all the things we like to play with but don't really need, so it was just under $36,000. Wow. For those interested in a car in this class but want something different, we have another car coming up to test. So now we're going to get into the 2015 Chrysler 200. Here's what it looks like from the front. Side view, of course. It looks a lot longer than it is. A nice looking shape on the rear. Now the base engine in the Chrysler 200 is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, putting out 184 horsepower, rated at 23 miles per gallon in the city and 36 on the freeway. We tested that car this year. In the real world, we got around 19 in the city, around 28 on the freeway. I wasn't really surprised because at 3,500 pounds, this is a lot of weight for a 4-cylinder to carry. So I figured we should get the V6 and see how this does in comparison. This is 3.2 liters, puts out 295 horsepower, and rated at 19 in the city, 32 on the freeway. And we'll be doing extensive testing to get you the real-world accurate gas mileage here. Now this is a nice looking modern cabin, far better than the previous stuff Chrysler used to make. If you're under 5'10" and less than 200 pounds, you should fit in the back okay. If you're over those specs, well, maybe not for long trips. A nice gauge cluster. Here's the shift knob for the 9-speed automatic, which has normal drive and a sport mode. Or you can shift manually with the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Very simple climate controls, as well as simple navigation and radio controls with a nice big screen. A decent sized glove box. A decent sized console. And if you don't want cup holders, you have a secret compartment down there for more stuff. Overall, this is an excellent cabin with no complaints. However, once you start getting out of the cabin, there were a couple of gripes. For instance, under the door, these rocker panels, way too wide. Every time you get out, your pants are going to rub on this, which means your pants are going to rub on the outside bodywork, and that is a lot of dirt on my hand, but not as much because a lot of it is on my leg. I don't know why car manufacturers do this. It's not necessary. So keep this car clean, folks. Also, at certain angles, the dash likes to reflect into the windshield. Then you see a speaker reflection. Same over here. It's not that bad, really. 90% of the time, you'll be okay. Just a minor annoyance. Now, a lot of the Chrysler 200 is borrowed from the Dodge Dart, which in turn is borrowed from the European Alfa Romeo series. Therefore, it's not a surprise that the driving characteristics of this vehicle are excellent. The steering is quick and responsive. The brakes are absolutely perfect. Great feel, no saggy pedal. And the cornering ability is very good. Very flat, no body lean. Oh, there's that pole I knocked over last week. No one suspects it's me. Just kidding, I didn't really do that. But somebody screwed up. And again, from this angle, an hour later, you can see the air vent reflection in the dash. As I said, it's not that serious. It's just a little thorn in the side. Now, while the 3,500 pound weight is a bit much for the little 4-cylinder engine, it's pretty light for this powerful 295 horse V6. We're talking 0 to 60 in about 6.3 seconds. This car is quick. The only downside here is the ride comfort. We're going to pull over and explain this for a second. Now, the Chrysler 200 comes in 4 models: the LX, the Limited, then the upgraded S, which we have here, and the C. Now, the LX and Limited come with the standard suspension, while the S, like this, and the upgraded C come with a sports suspension. Now, in all fairness, the sports suspension does provide excellent handling and cornering ability for those who like to drive in a hurry. But I've also driven the 2 vehicle models without the sports suspension, and I found to be very, very comfortable, while the ones with the sports suspension I find are a bit too harsh for me. But that's just my opinion. If you're going to buy a Chrysler 200, I suggest you test drive one with the sports suspension, one without, and see which pleases you. Now, most video car testers only drive their vehicles during the daytime. We do it at night to test the headlights and see how they perform, so let's do that right now. Now, from a distance of 100 feet, here's the high beam. Not bad. Low beam has some good light, but it's a wee bit too low. Let's do a longer distance. Now, here we have a distance of 300 feet, and the high beams are working very well. Low beams, the cutoff's a bit too short for me. This is okay for city driving, but on backcountry roads, you better put the brights on, especially if you have animals wandering out in the road. 115 miles of mixed city and freeway driving, 23.8 mpg. Reset the computer for a highway trip. 70 miles per hour plus, 28.8 mpg. Here's the best mileage I've had thus far at 65 mile per hour cruising. As far as fuel economy goes, here's the bottom line. On the 4-cylinder Chrysler 200, I got 18 mpg in the city, 23 in mixed city highway driving, and around 28 on the freeway. And that was at 75 plus miles per hour. On the V6 car, I got 19 in the city, approximately 24 in mixed expressway city driving, and on the freeway 28 to 32, between 60 to 75 miles per hour. So the bottom line is, the 4-cylinder car might be cheaper to buy, but it's no cheaper to run. So if you got the extra bucks, I'd say spring up the extra money for the V6. The performance is far, far superior. The base price of the 4-cylinder Chrysler 200 runs around $22,000, and sometimes you see the strippers on the dealer lot at the end of the year sales for around $18,000. This one was loaded up with about all the goodies, but not quite. It was at the $33,000 mark. Keep in mind there's an all-wheel drive option, and I'm told that the upgraded C-Class loaded with everything can run around $35,000 to $36,000 on the sticker, although Chrysler does give good discounts. If you're looking for a medium-sized sedan and you don't like what the Japanese or Koreans are offering, or GM or Ford, I guess you should check this car out. Now if you want a full-size car, the Chrysler 300 or the Dodge Charger both could be a good pick, and we did a video testing them together. To watch that, click on this link up in the corner.